Hey, Chef JP here in the Galley with Affiliated Marine, and today I'm going to teach you an easy pulled pork recipe. You're not going to have to fire up the pit, you're not going to have to go through all that work, and you're going to get lots of delicious pulled pork. So, let me show you a little bit of what we've got here. What we have is a Boston butt, which is actually a pork shoulder. This is actually just a half a shoulder, but the beautiful part about this recipe is you can do as little or as much as you want. So the first thing we're going to do is make a rub for our pork. Pork's nice and fatty. We want to give it a little kick, a little acidity, and a little bit of sweetness. So here's what's going to go into our rub. It's 4 simple ingredients. We're going to take some brown sugar, place that in our bowl. We've got some Creole mustard. If you don't like Creole mustard, you can use some dry yellow mustard. I love Creole mustard. It's just that coarse ground. It has that little bit of bite to it. Then we've got some fresh chopped garlic. This is going to be slow roasted in the oven for 3 hours or so. So it's going to have a lot of time for this to all marry together. And then we've got some apple cider vinegar. And we're going to stir that all up and make a nice paste with it. Okay, we've got our nice rub ready that we made with our brown sugar, our Creole mustard, our garlic, and our apple cider vinegar. Now we want to season up our pork butt here. So when you're seasoning up your pork butt, you want to make sure that you use your favorite season oil here. And it's a big piece of meat, so you can go pretty aggressive with the seasoning. Don't be shy. I'm just using a Creole seasoning oil right here that you're going to find at Affiliated Marine. Don't be afraid to cake that on. You want to make sure that you season both sides of it. So we're going to finish seasoning all this together, and then after you finish seasoning it, we're going to pour over our marinade. Now after you've seasoned both sides, what you're going to do is take your marinade that you made, or your little rub, and you're going to pour it right over the top. And you really want to try to get that worked in really good with either a spoon or a fork to try to get that coated on all sides. And since you have a little bit in the bottom of the pan, you can actually take your pork and actually turn it over and make sure that each side's nicely. Doesn't that look delicious? So we've got it nice and marinated here, and what we're going to do is cover this with a little foil. We're going to put it in a 325-degree oven, and we're going to cook it covered for about 3 hours or until it starts to get fork tender. When it gets fork tender, what I like to do is take that foil back, place it back in the oven for like 20 to 30 minutes just to give it a little color and help that sugar start to caramelize and get a lot of good flavor in there. Okay, our pork butt has come out of the oven. As you can see, you can tell it's getting really tender because this bone is starting to protrude out of it. One of the reasons I love this recipe is you don't have to worry about taking that bone out because it's going to be so tender that it's just going to pull apart here. And there you have it. Slow roasted pulled pork. Hey, Chef JP here, cooking it up in the Galley with Affiliated Marine, and today we're going to show you this sauce that I want to put with my pulled pork. It's just a sweet and sour sauce with a southern twist. So we're going to make a pepper jelly sauce. And what I like to do when I make a pepper jelly sauce is just take a great pepper jelly from the store, bought already, and then kind of add a few things just to give it a little flavor, some color, and some texture. So what we're going to do is put just a little bit of oil. We're going to put a little bit of oil in our pot. And then after we put the oil, we're going to make sure and put a little bit of onions. Some diced carrots. And then for color, we're going to put in some yellow bell pepper, a little jalapeno pepper, and some red bell pepper. That fire's getting a little hot. We're going to turn that down. Then you can't have a pepper jelly sauce without pepper jelly. So we're going to put about a half a jar in there. If you don't have pepper jelly, use whatever jelly you have. The jalapenos are going to make it nice and spicy as well. We're going to add a little bit of chicken stock. And here's where the sour comes from, the sweet and sour. We've got that pepper jelly in there, and now we're going to add a little apple cider vinegar. And of course, a little parsley for some color. Now we're going to stir this up, and you're going to want to simmer it for a good 15 minutes till it gets nice and to a sauce consistency, something that'll coat the back of a spoon. And then we'll season it up with a little bit of salt and pepper. Hey, it's Chef JP here, cooking it up in the galley with Affiliated Marine, and today I'm going to show you this great side dish we have that's going to go with our pulled pork. It's going to be a mashed sweet potato. Very simple, 4 simple ingredients, easiest thing you could make. What I used to do is I'd walk into the kitchen and I'd throw as many sweet potatoes as I could throw in a sheet pan, put it in a 400-degree oven for about 45 minutes until they get nice and roasted like this, and they start to collapse on themselves. Now you want to do this while they're still warm because it makes it easier to mix. So all you're going to do is, if you have them cooked nice and well, is pop them right out the shell like that, or out the skin I should say. And if you let them cool just slightly, they'll kind of separate from their skin, and it'll make it really easy to do this. As you can see, it takes no time at all. You get a couple of people on this and it goes really quick. And now we're going to add some butter to that. This is about 3 potatoes, so I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of butter. And then we're going to mash that up just a little bit, just to get that butter melting. Now some people will put sweetener, and you can do that if you want to put maple syrup or cane syrup or whatever your favorite sweetener is, brown sugar. But sometimes I like to leave this just nice and simple and let the food talk for itself, because there's plenty of sugar already in the sweet potato. I love using this, of course, with the pulled pork. It goes great, but I also use this with trout meuniere or whatever type of fish, because it just adds a little bit of sweetness to what you're cooking. Hey, Chef JP here, and we've got this incredibly easy coleslaw recipe to go with our pulled pork. Right here in this bowl we have some green cabbage and some purple cabbage. Today I use Napa cabbage, but use your favorite. If you want to use regular cabbage, that's great. We put a little bit more green cabbage than we did purple cabbage, and then we're going to add a little bit of carrots for color and sweetness, some julienne red bell pepper, some green onions. I love this because it gives color, but not only that, you're going to get that good onion flavor that you want when you're making a coleslaw. A little bit of parsley. And you could build this dressing separately, but I just build it right in the bowl. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to put a couple of tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of mayo, about 3. 1 tablespoon of Creole mustard. And here's the trick to making it. You want some acidity, you want some sweetness, so we're just going to use some pineapple juice right out the can. Just a splash of that in there, and that's going to give you that bite and that tartness that you want. So we'll stir all that up. And if you can do this a little bit ahead of time, it'll make it even better, just like maybe 30 to 45 minutes before you're going to use it. and get it nice and chilled. Once you got it mixed up pretty good, we're going to season it up with a little salt and pepper. Man, that's looking great. And there you have it. Quick and easy coleslaw. You can use it on our pulled pork as a side, or you could actually just put it on top of a sandwich, and we're going to show you that as well. Well, now we're going to plate our dish. We have our wonderful sweet potatoes. We're going to put a spoon of that on our plate. Don't those look delicious? Then we're going to top that with a little bit of our pulled pork, just right on top. Now we're going to put a little bit of our slaw, just as a tangy garnish, right on top. And last but not least, we can't forget our pepper jelly. That's starting to look so good. We're going to put pepper jelly all around it. Now we're going to garnish it up with little shaved green onions to go with that slaw. And there we have it. Our pulled pork over some smashed sweet potatoes with pepper jelly sauce and a little bit of homemade coleslaw. Now, if this is a little too fancy for you, you don't have to go through all this trouble. Let me show you one of my favorite ways to do this. Right here, we just have your favorite roll. This is an onion roll. We're going to take some of that same pepper jelly sauce and just spread a little bit down on the bun. Just like that. Then, put some of our pulled pork right on top. I love making sandwiches out of this. It's one of my favorite ways to use it. Then of course we still have got our coleslaw. Load it with mayo, so it's going to have lots of creamy goodness there. All these recipes and a whole lot more can be found on our website at affiliatedmarine.com. I'm Chef JP. Thanks for joining us.